I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and with me today is a special guest, Zvonimir Vlajic of Croatia, a master on Board Game Arena champion of Croatia, both online and in person, and the man, I would say almost single-handedly responsible for a lot of the Carcassonne scene in Croatia, bringing in a lot of new players, training them up. So if you've been recently beaten on Board Game Arena by a player with a Croatian flag, then this is this guy's fault. Hi Zvonimir, it's great to have you here.
Good evening, Alexey, and thank you for inviting me.
So today we'll be covering the more decisive events. I keep saying that every day, but every day that is true, of the qualification cycle for the 2025 Carcassonne Champions League, where Daniel Ayala of Mexico and Meami of Germany will be playing again, and this time in the lower bracket of the first qualification. The bracket is on your screen. They have already played before. And this time, the first time Meami got the better of Daniel, sent Daniel to the lower bracket. Then he managed to defeat the Polish player with screen name Preachy 2-1. Then he managed to defeat also narrowly the Chilean vice champion, the Chilean Vladimir, the player with the screen name This is Vegan's CL, and now we're here. As for Meami, he only lasted one more round in the upper bracket after losing 2-0 to Lord Terrycloth of the UK. He did manage to successfully defeat Estronce of Spain, very tough opponent, 2-1, and now they meet again, so it's going to be a rematch. Since both of them have one loss, one of these players will be eliminated afterwards, and whoever wins this match will play in the consolidated final against the aforementioned Lord Terrycloth of the United Kingdom, and whoever wins that match will actually qualify for the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League. So Zvonimir, I know that you're familiar with both of these players somewhat, that you have played with both of them. First of all, what do you expect from this match? Is there a clear favorite to you, or do you think that's an equal matchup? What can you say? Do you have a preference? Is any of your players a favorite, or will you be a neutral observer here?
Well, I played against both of them a few times, and I have a negative score against both of them, so I think that will be a strong match. My prediction is that Daniel could win, because I've seen his gameplay, and it's quite difficult to play against him, risking a lot of meeples around. So I have played 5 times against him, I think, and I won only once, and it was all the difficult choices to make against him. So I'm sure hoping for 3 matches. So let's see.
Yes.
But I think Daniel might take this, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I would actually say that Meami is the slight favorite, the slight slow, simply because I would say that's an equal matchup, and Daniel, of course, very aggressive in the scoring. Meami, on the other hand, very aggressive with the fields, very good board vision, and I think in order to defeat him, Daniel will either need to be proactive with the field or simply try some ways of scoring elsewhere, if the position allows that. But yeah, the reason why I would say Meami is a slight favorite is simply because he already won in the first match. And, some players could say that it's a psychological advantage, for some it's a psychological disadvantage. I don't know how you feel about this. If you're playing again against a player whom you previously lost, do you feel like you're going to lose again? Or do you feel like, now it's time to get revenge and you actually start playing better?
Yeah, exactly. I look at that as a revenge time. So I think the revenges are really strong in Carcassonne, because when you lose some important match against someone, the next time you want to win that for sure.
Yeah, and also will be interesting to see if Daniel is going to do any differently strategy-wise compared to his first match. Hi Elias, hi Pichan, we already have Mexican fans in the chat. If somebody is rooting for Germany here, do let us know to balance things out. But if not, then Meami here will be outnumbered, at least on our channel. So Yeah, the game should start in about 1 minute, so I think what we can do is just go to Meami's page and start refreshing. Is he online? Yes, he is online, and the game has already been created. He has not starting the game. I think that it will start at exactly 2000 UTC. Oh, there we go. Wise Maze, hi Wise Maze, rooting for his German teammate. So yeah, so let's just keep refreshing. Oh yeah, and by the way, also, if anybody in the chat has any questions for our new special guest, for Zvonimir Vlajic, that's Blue Stanborg Marina. For those of you who don't know, then make sure to just drop them in the chat, and we'll try to address them a little bit later, probably about Carcassonne in Croatia and board gaming in Croatia in general. Alrighty, the game has started, and Daniel with the black meeples will be to go first. Statistical advantage, 2-point road for black. The German player with his traditional blue gets the first city cap, the first on the scoreboard with 4 points. Daniel with a Dorito tile occupies a new city, so standard moves from the start, and Meami probably going to equalize, but this allows a re-invasion platform, and it's interesting if Daniel going to use it right now. So Zvonimir, like, do you just go over here on the left and try to overrun with the city with 2 Doritos, or do you play a bit more conservatively and just meeple the city cap elsewhere?
I would attack that city. It's still early and a lot of tiles could complete it, so why not? And both that and you can use the city cap at the bottom with your road.
Oh, right, yeah, because of course the black road is sticking into it, and then there's potential to draw a scoring tile, like a city cap or a Dorito, taking advantage of both the road component and the city component on the tile, but he does not do it. I'm actually a bit surprised about that. So he definitely thought about it for a second, you can tell from the timing. But just as you were saying that Daniel is sort of very aggressive and places his meeple everywhere, this does not appear to be the case. And this actually is Meami, who now is headed for the city attack, does not quite get the tile. He's trying to go for the Dorito and city cap combo. Daniel, of course, starts another city on the right, also indirectly protecting his road. And Meami basically forgets about the idea of reconquering the city. Daniel, of course, tries to invade his city at the top. Now, 4 meeples on 4 different cities for black for different reasons, of course. But I'm kind of a bit surprised about this move over here from blue. Blue is now equalizing the roads. Daniel, finally with a city cap, gets a meeple back. Very fast-paced game. Equal on the scoreboard. And finally a splitter for Meami. So that's interesting. Well, yeah, so before I actually got the chance to ask you, he immediately used the splitter, but I'm surprised that he didn't drop the farmer there, so...
I would drop another farmer immediately there. It's a lucrative field.
Yeah, and even if they don't get connected, it's already 6 points, and... no, it's just like, it's gonna be the main field on the game, like, there's no questions about it, yeah, so... maybe just playing a little bit too fast, or maybe the Germans thinking that there are still enough platforms to attack this field, and I don't know, maybe like, let's say Daniel goes here at the top, and then Meami can just go here or something like this. Daniel doesn't go for the field just yet, because he doesn't get the right tile. He wants to take advantage of the road first. I love that, and Meami gets a city tile. Probably gonna start a new city somewhere. Any ideas for where the best square for that could be, Zvonimir?
I would go with it top or bottom, middle top or middle bottom, just to eliminate potential monastery places.
Right, yeah, because now, of course, there's these monasteries possible over here. Well, on the other hand, there's still this beautiful 5-point spot for a monastery anywhere, so that's kind of not going away that soon. Probably the placement that I prefer is very similar. Maybe instead of bottom middle, I would go bottom left, just to kind of obstruct that road a little bit. He has a similar idea. So he now tries to obstruct slightly the other road of black and gets a meeple back immediately. But then also, had he tried to obstruct the other green's road, then this monastery would have been in a much, much more dangerous place for black, because we're running short on those starting tiles.
Just one remaining.
Just one remaining, yeah, so there is some potential for blocking this square. Still not very likely at the moment because Meami would need to take multiple moves and all Daniel needs to consolidate is just one tile over here. Meami now with a Dorito tile, not many places, to actually only 2 placements that do not help his opponent immediately. Probably the move that I like is going over here and meepling the road instead of the city. But he goes for this farm. Interesting. So he does drop the second farmer, which I agree with the concept in general. Just wonder if there was a better tile for doing that. Daniel consolidates Meami with a new city cap, probably going to start a new city. Takes the city at the top. Tries to not leave that Dorito square alone for too long. Daniel with a fantastic tile, but many options. He could either finish the road next to his monastery, setting up another monastery, so no, there's still 5 of those remaining, or he could just simply finish his road on the right, taking 5 points, or maybe he could even go super aggressive and try to meeple another 5-point road on the right, pre-building a longer road like this. So he doesn't go for the super aggressive route, instead he does set up the monastery. The last starting tile goes to Daniel. He's now probably going to finish his city. But the question is, does he drop a farmer? And that's going to be a strategic decision. Like, do you actually try to equalize the field, or do you try to just relinquish this field, allow Meami to have 2 meeples on it? And this is what he does. Do you agree with this move strategically, Zvonimir?
Well, it's an interesting situation because this field looks like it could be stuck on 5 cities. So fighting for that with 2 meeples and few moves for connecting, that would be a bit of a reach. So maybe that's why he is planning on doing some counter field.
Yeah, and I'm also quite interested in how quickly he took that decision. I definitely like that decision here, especially now that he draws another monastery. I don't think he even needs a farm. As you said, 15 points. Meami probably has to finish that shared city. No real good tile for this Dorito, just to get himself more farming points. And then I guess he could draw like a couple of splitters and stuff. So both splitters like this are already used up. One of those. Okay, this move I just cannot possibly understand. I think we see the first big miss from Meami. I mean, he's starting a new city in a way that's vulnerable for him rather than vulnerable for Daniel. Because it's a 1-point meeple. There are no starting tiles remaining. So if we add a triangle tile, right? And wait, where's my drawing tool? So some of my more... Wait, seriously, where did it go? Okay, I will take a time to get it back. But I just wanted to... Zvonimir, just wanted to ask you, like, what would you have done with that Dorito tile? Would you have just finished the city? Would you have started a new city elsewhere? Or would you have done the same as Meami?
I would definitely not do the same as Meami because, as we saw, all 4 starting tiles are out. And I think Daniel could even block his own meeple with that, just to prevent the field from reaching out.
Right, yeah. Because, for example, now, like, a road monastery goes over here, and that adds a load of green squares to black. And if black just takes any Dorito tile and goes over here, he can block his own monastery, as long as he blocks this square as well. And also his monastery scores more than this potentially blocked city anyway.
And he has a lot of meeples to work with, so he can leave that one stuck there.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly what he has done. So he's, well, obviously neither player really draws any tile that fits in those squares, but Daniel starting a counter field with a divider, and, you know, yeah, this is the classic thing. So when your opponent has a 12-point field with 2 meeples, you get yourself a 9-point field with 1 meeple, and even though your field is smaller, you're more efficient because you're scoring more points per meeple. So let's say if this city gets completed, it's going to be a 15-point field, 2 meeples, that's 7.5, and Daniel probably going to have 9. So now we can see Meami's plans are actually, he was never planning to block this square using the vulnerable starting tile. He was just hoping to build around the city how he built facing to the left, but Daniel managed to save it and set up a straight line to not only finish his monastery, but maybe even meeple a new road. But finally, at least Meami blocks one of Daniel's meeples. This 4-point road is trapped forever, never coming back. So a good move from Meami, but the downside, the field is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And actually now Daniel, of course, starts a new city, but there were some other options. Like Daniel could have even gone over here at the top and just tried to like build roads around this field. He can actually do it right now. How about we don't finish our monastery and just go over here and try to like block this field even further and deny road monasteries over here? No, he goes for the monastery, does not meeple the road, just because this road is kind of dangerous. But he has all the scoreboard leads in the world. Meami finishes his road, separates from Daniel's road, starts a new city, catches up on the scoreboard a little bit. Meami, with a city cap tile, presumably going to finish his road and start a new city and obstruct Meami's city cap. So given
why didn't he rotate it differently? Why didn't he rotate it differently?
Oh, right, because he could have simply dropped it in his field, yeah. That's interesting. I think maybe he wants to prioritize blocking Blue's city rather than expanding his fields, because he already has another city cap in his field which he could take advantage of, and sort of his plan is maybe he can use city plus field tiles on the left here to expand his field, and city plus road tiles or extenders or something like this on the right to create that blocking platform, that dangerous blocking platform, given that 4 starting tiles that would fit into this square are out. So I would assume something like this could be going on. Now a Dorito tile for Daniel, continues his city at the top, tries to influence negatively Meami's 4-point road a little bit with that too, but Meami gets a meeple back, gets 3 extra field points. But Daniel gets even more and completes his plan of a 9-point field on the left. Meami gets his meeple back for the curve. Very fast-paced game. Curve for Daniel. This one he's going to think for a little bit longer. Probably wants to... So he goes for a move which gives some sort of attacking platform against Meami's city. Meami immediately covers up. There is potential to build a lip-shaped city with a couple of Doritos and a triple city, but we're running short on those. So actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 2 of those remaining. Daniel is still unperturbed. He wants to draw one of those 2 Doritos to draw a fantastic 14 or even 16-point city at the top. And now a road monastery for Daniel. Fantastic tile drawing skills, I have to say, this game. You know, 7-point monastery over here, 3-point road, 7-point monastery over here. Like, you take your pick. As Daniel here, Zvonimir, do you take the monastery point, or do you prefer to preserve the meeples and maybe just take a 3-point road or a 2-point road on the right, setting up an attacking platform against Meami's city, or do something else entirely?
I would start building those monasteries below on our field. Because 3 monasteries are left in the game. We can use some green spaces to extend the field. But Daniel has its own ideas.
Yeah, so this monastery at the top is like a tiny bit dangerous, because like Meami could draw a city plus road tile, such as one of the 2 horse tiles, the triple city with the road, finish his road, and also block Meami's monasteries. And actually, you see, so had Daniel gone for your plan, he would have had 2 adjacent monasteries, but it doesn't matter, he just draws all of them. He just draws all of them, right?
Yeah.
But I really...
more beautiful down there.
Yeah, but I really like your ideas, Zvonimir. So like going for fewer points initially, but setting up a monastery cluster as opposed to 2 separate monasteries. So several moves from Meami available. He can just add 1 point to the monastery with a meeple or without, but instead he goes for defense, which is something that was also possible. Meami tries to block. Daniel instantly get the tile that suits him. Going to continue his city even further, and even if it doesn't get completed, it will be already worth 9 points. In the meantime, hi Ian, hi Ralph, hi Amiris. So already German fans are outnumbering Mexican fans. So Mexico, now it's your turn to show up in larger numbers. However, Daniel is doing just fine with the support that he has. But Wiseman is here pointing out something, that there are only 2 straight lines remaining for Daniel to unite these 2 fields. And of course, the idea is, that Blue is building this big field with 2 meeples, but currently those 2 meeples are not connected. So technically it's 2 fields. This guy's worth 6 points with 2 completed cities, and this guy's worth 15 points with 5 completed cities. So these 2 cities are being scored for twice. Meami with a fantastic tile yet again, either going to score 2 quick points or maybe even place a meeple on the road and try to invade Meami's road over here. I'm not sure if it's worth doing. Or Zvonimir, do you just prefer to peacefully take 3 quick points on the right, or do something else entirely?
I think Daniel just needs to keep getting points. Meami is a lot behind in points, so connecting that field would be really good. I mean, connecting the field in the middle, so Meami loses 6 more points.
Yeah, but then on one hand, like, if we get a straight line, then we don't get to place it near our monastery anyway. But maybe actually that's not that bad, because imagine if we get a straight line, and then we get a curve, which I believe still one exists, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, there's still one of those. Then we complete our monastery, but by accident we get this city at the top into the main field, and also give a bunch of green squares to work with. Yeah, that's why actually Meami takes the points and also limits the field a little bit further. But the downside, the 3-point road was left safely for Meami, and he now took advantage of it. And also this road could be completed by the German, and he would then almost catch up on the scoreboard. As Daniel gets a Dorito tile, probably going to either place it on the right or maybe place it at the top, trying to disrupt Meami's city over here. On the other hand, the city seems to be disrupted enough. So, Zvonimir, any ideas for this Dorito on your part?
I will continue with the block on the right.
Are you thinking orientation top, orientation with the city facing downwards?
Orientation top, because if the orientation is downwards, it could be blocked, because there are few big city tiles left.
Right, yeah, and so if we face it downwards, then Meami, I guess, could draw something like a Dorito tile, well, the last Dorito tile, or one of the triple cities, and then block us permanently, because remember, no starting tiles are left. And, of course, if we go upwards, there's a tiny, tiny chance of our opponent drawing the same type of tile, and then kind of bending our city into their city and blocking both meeples at the same time. But given that Daniel's ahead, having both his and his opponent's meeples blocked is probably not the worst idea ever. But this move is really taking Daniel some time, so I wonder what else he might be thinking about.
He decided for this option.
Yeah, so he does agree, going for the block. Meami now gets a lovely road meeple back with some extra steps as a result of the crossroads here. Oh, thank you, Wisemates, for correcting that. Actually, this was the last Dorito, so there are no Doritos remaining at all. Yes, so the blocking ideas are even more difficult. Oh, straight line for Daniel, so a great dilemma. Do you unify the 2 fields, or do you complete your own monastery? He decides to unify the 2 fields.
Yes.
So on one hand, I like it. On the other hand, there's a way how this could backfire. Meami now has an extremely high-scoring combo. If Meami gets a road monastery over here, he's going to get 7 points for the road monastery. He's going to get 3 points extra by expanding his field. And if he then gets the straight line, he's going to go over here and score also 7 points for this road. So that's potentially a 17-point sequence for Meami, and he's going to do it. Will that be enough to actually pull him back into this game? Daniel's trying to draw up city caps into his own field, at the same time building his own monastery. Meami trying to finish up his city. Daniel with a crossroad tiles gets a 4-point road meeple back. And does Meami get a straight line? No, he does not. He gets a city cap, but that's also good enough.
Even better.
Yeah, so he finishes the city, drop a farmer, 12 points on Meami's scoreboard, almost the same as Daniel, and he still has the same field, but Daniel has the straight line. And it is the
Nice.
Mexican player. I believe this might have been the coin flip for the game, actually, because 8 points for Daniel. And I think the other tile is nowhere near as profitable. We're going to see what that is in just a second. Yeah, so a city cap tile, which would have been great for Daniel. Oh yeah, so it's actually interesting. Daniel was scoring 8 points no matter what. Either 8 points at the bottom for the city cap, so that would be 4 for the city, 1 for the monastery, and 3 for the farm, of course. Or, you know, this road tile, which he just did. But what matters is that Meami does not have any high point scoring moves. The highest point scoring move I see that is 3 points. So he's going to get 3 instead of 6. So that's going to be a 3-point coin flip after all. Let's see if it actually matters for the outcome of the game. It might.
It was very unfortunate because even though he built that lip-shaped city on the left, there weren't any shields on it. He had to use those tiles in the other places.
Right, yeah, like that city looks big, but it's actually only 12 points. Like, it's not the biggest city ever. I think also I should, and Meami also saying, "Grats on spoiling it for us." I mean, we kind of assumed that Daniel would win, but I don't think it's going to be by that much. Because that field ended up being worth 18 points, so it is worth the investment of 2 meeples after all. GG is saying Daniel Ayala. And the final difference is 9 points. So confident, but not that much. With the better draw at the end, Meami would have lost -6. Still not quite enough. Yeah, so it appears that Daniel has changed his approach from the last match. And definitely he engaged in field battles quite a lot. I'm not sure if you saw the first match. That was streamed a couple of weeks ago.
Yet.
But yeah, Daniel did drop a lot of farmers, and here he went for completely other strategies, simply controlling his opponent's farms, realizing that he has a bit of a lead on the scoreboard, and just, you know, playing in other parts of the board kind of non-competitively and just not allowing Meami to catch up. So of course some nice tile draws as well for the Mexican, but he took advantage of them fully. So, Meami will now need to do something to come back. I'm not sure if we're going to be taking a break. Doesn't appear to be the case. Hi, Elias. Hi, Andres. We're seeing Mexican flags in the chat. All right. Let's just update the score and start refreshing. I wonder, like, Zvonimir, when you're playing a best-of-3 match and you lose the first game, does that change the way you play at all? Like, do you start being more aggressive or more cautious, or does that depend on your opponent? Or do you just take each game at a time?
It mostly depends on the way I'm feeling that day, but yeah, if I lose the first one, then I'm going to like refresh, take a quick walk, drink water, come back, shake my head, and continue to do it. It is kind of psychological thing. When you lose the first one, then you know that you cannot mess up in the next two.
But you know, like, sometimes like thinking that you can't mess up and like being terrified of mistakes makes you play even worse.
Yeah, that also happens.
Yeah, but also Meami is fairly experienced here. I don't think he doesn't seem to be the type of player that has like exhibited nerves and stuff. But you know, of course, we don't know that for sure. But there wasn't anything in particular that was reflected in his moves, and so far he's doing just fine. He was the first to start a 2-point road. Daniel scored 4 points for the city cap, and Meami with the first monastery of the game, 3 points on his scoreboard. Monastery with lots of green squares around this. And a slight opening advantage for the German. I'm surprised about that move. So starting a new city makes sense. Zvonimir, any idea why Daniel might have started a new city not at the top, but being controlled by Blue's monastery, donating 1 point to Blue?
Maybe he's thinking about the Ukrainian strategy in
Yeah,
advance.
I know. He may be thinking that about, but the whole point of the Ukrainian technique is that how you control two monasteries, not one.
Yeah, but he supposed that Meami will draw a second monastery up there, so
Right. But that's also an interesting question. Is like, if you're Miami, do we even place your second monastery there? I mean, you probably still do. It's just too many points. So we can see
yeah.
that Daniel keeps scoring again in this game. Now he invades Miami City. A city cap for the German. Probably going to start a new city somewhere. Not quite clear where, actually. Or he could go a bit unorthodox and just drop a city cap next to his monastery. He goes for normal moves, starting a city on the right, but leaving a potential loop road or a potential three-pointer to either party. Daniel, for example, could grab this road right now. I wonder why he has not done it just yet. Instead, he goes for the farm, which is a move I don't like in this position, actually, simply because this farm is good, but it has many invasion platforms, and what I like to do in positions like this is just simply to clean up all the mini scoring opportunities. Okay, he gets another chance right now. Like, we gotta take that road at some point. But maybe not. But maybe we're gonna drop another farmer now. So,
I think there will be a lot of farmers here.
so this tempo could be more important than the 3 points, actually. That's interesting. So as Daniel, I think now he's not going for the road. He's thinking where to drop this farmer. And if there are multiple options, he could go here on the right, trying to harass the city a little bit. He could go over here, trying to attach to the blue meeple a bit more directly. He could go over here, drop a farmer here, and just leave this 4-point road up for grabs. So out of the placements, Zvonimir, which one do you prefer? One that Daniel Ayala actually just made, or a different one?
Now, when I think about it, I would rather start a 3-point road and then drop a farmer out if there will be possibilities, just to
Yeah.
get some sort of tempo, because these roads are just hanging around.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that maybe he just doesn't care about those row points that much. Because, like, I mean, if you end up winning the field, then the field is going to be like, I don't know, 30 points or something. Then this road really does not matter. But the reason why these quick points matter is because if you get enough of them and you pull slightly ahead, then it is enough for you to just tie the field rather than win the field. So you are required to drop one fewer farmer than your opponent in order to win this game, and that can be a big advantage. Just you can have one less task than your opponent, or one task fewer. I can't think fast enough. Were you surprised by some of the moves, Vonimir?
Yeah, actually, I would take the 2 points for the road there and point the city cap upwards if I was Miami.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Generally, I guess like Miami didn't want to leave an empty city cap, but taking like if you take the 2 points, then you have a chance to take advantage from both the road and the city cap, and it's just really good. And also, it's not like this move leaves nothing behind. It actually leaves an opportunity for a 4-point loop road, which would at the same time harass the city. So there's always going to be features on the board, and the further we go into the game, the less the less the concept of avoiding leaving empty city caps becomes important. It's kind of more of an opening thing. Well, Daniel drops another farmer. This one looks really strong, unblockable, trying to connect in 2 spots. Miami now with a sneaky blocking tile, and it's actually will harm black in 2 places. So first of all, of course, the more obvious threat is attacking the city on the left, which he now succeeds at. And the other less obvious threat is drawing a Dorito tile, finishing his monastery, but leaving the city meeple stranded. So that's a bit of a potential pre-block. Miami now thinking whether to place his meeple. I kind of think that he should. It's just too good, and this city could grow too fast, out of control if not careful. And also he has lots of meeples. Yeah. But he doesn't. Would you have placed a
That's
meeple there as
interesting.
Wanamir, or...
I would. If I already prepared the block, then I would like continue with stealing this city.
So it's a bit playing with fire, but maybe his plan is to wait until black invests one more Dorito tile into the city, like over here, and then attack it. But it could be dangerous because, like, if you go through a dry spell of city tiles and you get some road tiles, sometimes if your opponent gets a good tile draw, like your opponent just finishes a city and all you can do is watch.
Interestingly enough, there is again a big field fight for only the only the field of 5 cities.
Well, 5 cities for now, but actually it's very, very different from the last game, because that 15 point in the center, that 15 point field in the center that we were having, it was built solely by blue with 2 meeples, but this one will be built by black with 3 against 2, so that's a majority of net 1 meeple. So it's actually extremely efficient. It's going to be a net 1 meeple for net 15 points, which is probably more than any other feature on the board.
That's true, but there are like still 4 monasteries left, and Daniel doesn't have enough meeples to use.
Yeah, that's interesting. So if Meami draws the monasteries, he could definitely catch up and try to go for the approach for the thing that Daniel did to him in the previous game, right?
Exactly, yes.
But what's different from the previous game a little bit is that we're a bit short on monastery spots. I mean, there are these lovely 4-pointers at the top, but 4 is not 6, it still requires some time. However, 2 monasteries over here would be quite powerful. Also, one other monastery spot was just created over here for 5 points. That would also have been very nice, with a chance to build up some roads. So certainly, this position is not devoid of scoring potential. Meami now tries to get a road. And I think his big master plan is to actually try to make black build one big city and block black. But I think black doesn't have any problem with that, because this city is going to be like 16 points or something in total. So Meami finishes a road tile. Daniel with a monastery, which he can't meeple, as you said, but he very wisely simply takes out monastery spot, the best monastery spot on the board, just to not allow Meami take advantage of it. The German with a dagger tile, he could add it to his monastery, but he doesn't. He doesn't care about that monastery. That's very interesting. Instead, he tries to block Daniel unsuccessfully, as Daniel immediately draws a starting tile to recover his meeple. Meami with a shielded tile tries to set up a new city of his own, and Daniel now with Bear of Dangerous City as he draws the splitter. That's the kind of stuff that I was talking about. Meami does not get a city tile to attack. Get a monastery either up top to start a new one, or at the bottom also to start a new one. Excellent chance to score. And let's see if Daniel gets some city tiles to finish his city. Daniel gets a city cap,
nice.
And he's going to cover up. Yeah, so that's the price for blue not putting the meeple over here. Meami gets a monastery, still blue, setting up an attacking tile, trying to do something about this city. Daniel tries to block Meami's city too.
Should Meami prepare a road now, or?
Yeah, I would actually go ahead and meeple it straight up, just because there's so many straight lines remaining, and the road is so good. It's 7 points with just 2 tiles, and I don't think we can... No. That's just too cowardly. Like, what's
You know what's interesting?
Yeah?
The situation that the splitter is still up in the game, so the city on the left can be taken by any player.
But it will be taken by black, as you were saying it. Yeah, so blue will be punished for being too stingy with his meeples. And you know what has to hurt more is that, okay, this is an 18-point city, but 6 out of these 18 points were provided to Daniel by Meami. This is the value of these 2 tiles. Of course, blue now blocks black. I don't think there's even a tile left. No, I think there is one of those. No, there are no starting tiles left, so this meeple is lost. None that's going to matter. Also, Daniel now meeples the road, which Meami refused to meeple before. So that will be a bit unfortunate. That also big swing in the game. Not only failing to take advantage of the 7 points, but also allowing your opponent to do that. Now you're mentioning the splitters, Zvonimir, but Daniel is preparing to draw a splitter and finish yet another city.
If that happens, then it's basically game over.
Yeah, and even now, so at least what Meami has going for him, this 2-point move actually here earlier had a purpose. So he decided to forgo the road simply to create himself another field attacking spot, and it works like a charm. You know, this farmer will connect to the field eventually. Yeah, and Daniel is definitely going to the splitter. Look, he's not connecting these little city pieces because he's trying to just draw the splitter, or if he doesn't get the splitter, he's perfectly happy to stay here with 6 points blocked. Meami, with a straight road, with which I need to point out, he would have finished a 7-point road himself and denied Daniel a 7-point road too, but it's not going to happen. He simply adds a point to his monastery. Daniel with a dagger tile. Not many moves available to him.
He might even go for the city finishing move next to the monastery. I mean, he doesn't have to do it, but
well, I mean, that would certainly be flashy, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's double-edged, so of course the upside is that it gives more chances to finish the city. The downside is that we're building up the monastery for blue, and there's some scenarios where we actually get these 2 tiles, and we build up the monastery for blue. Blue gets his meeple back, then immediately uses this square below to invade into the city again, equalize the city, and gets away with his monastery anyway. And if we were behind, going for the city might be the strategy, but given that we still are ahead, we might win the game without that anyway. So I'm thinking maybe
but that move will also have a blocking platform for the bottom monastery.
Oh, that's true, actually. But also, what that move would also have is another field attacking platform. So I'm not sure if we want to be like over here. One could drop a farmer. So lots of dangerous things that this move could make. And also I'm thinking how important it is to block Meami's monastery at the bottom. Well, important enough for it to be worth trying, yeah. Decides Daniel. He sacrifices a point to just create this platform, and Meami just doesn't care. He connects into the field, leaves an empty city cap, which actually I like. Oh, that's such a brilliant move by Meami. It's very deep. So he connects to the field because he will need the curve to recover his monastery, which we get. And it's okay to leave an empty city cap in this instance because he cannot use the city cap at the bottom because he did not want to obstruct his own monastery. But at least now there's one city cap in the position that he can use, and he now takes advantage of it. So that was a... Oh! He does not. Instead, he wants to try something. But I think it's going to backfire. So... I wonder if you have seen my video series called Move of the Week, Zvonimir.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So the first one of those, and Daniel goes for this type of move. So the first move of those where the Chinese player, Dr. Taihan, finished the city of Fan Alexey of Ukraine. So he helped his opponent to finish a city just to create a field attacking platform, and Daniel now does the same. Oh, but what an counter invasion here from Meami, trying to drop a farmer through the dagger, but the splitter for Daniel. The wait paid off totally. The Daniel also gets the dagger, which means that the bottom farmer will not connect into the field, and looks like we are on track for another blowout.
Yes, the tiles were in his favor. Great, well played already.
Yeah, I mean, well played indeed. I have to say, like, also what I like about Daniel's approach, he tried 2 completely different strategies in 2 of these games, and both of them paid off. Daniel's now thinking probably whether to take the quick points for the city cap on the right, or to maybe add this tile over here to make it a bit easier to sneak his farmer into the field that way. He goes for the direct points. Hi, Nico. Hi, Hannah. Yeah, so his farmer is blocked at first, but he does not need the farm in order to win. He just needs to probably preserve parity, and I think he doesn't even need that. Daniel takes 3 quick points. plus 32. And yeah, just nothing that Meami can do. Do you see any field invasion here, Zvonimir? Is there anything at the top, maybe?
No. Maybe through the... Is there any starting tile left?
I don't think so. Yeah, because I remember that this meeple at the right was blocked. So we don't even have to recount.
Yeah.
And how about these... but these... how you... Yeah, so Meami doesn't even bother. He just takes his immediate highest scoring move. Daniel does the same. Both players have a ruin now. Meami doesn't even get additional points. Now gets a straight line. Not really that much to do with it. And the game is over with a massive, massive advantage for Daniel.
Congratulations to Daniel.
Yeah, so he does manage to... So you were right, Zvonimir, about him having the higher chances and about him, you know, going for the revenge after his first loss against Meami early in the qualification cycle.
Revenge was strong with him.
Yeah, so let's see. So 21 points for the shared field, which means that even if Meami were to take this field over, it would not have mattered just because the cities on the left were too much. Yeah, so this initial move, which we were both puzzled by, remember how he like meepled the city next to his monastery? Got controlled by the monastery, then like all the game he was just messing around, and then finally towards the very end, it resulted into a game decisive city. So much so that, let's see, Meami in this cluster on the left ended up adding 4, 8, 10 city points to Daniel. 10 city points to Daniel were donated to him by his opponent. So these 3 tiles over here. I mean, of course, this one was justified, but still.
I was wondering why didn't he put the meeple, because he had 3 meeples at the time.
I think that was just kind of a bit stinginess. I think I can understand his logic, because I know that Meami generally prioritizes fields a lot. So it's both his strength and weakness, because he prioritizes the field in positions when you have to prioritize the field, and he also prioritizes the fields in positions where you should prioritize something else. And I think for him, he just wanted to have as many meeples in hand as possible, just so he has enough for his field fight. But you know, like, this city was just such a big threat that I feel like going without a meeple is unnecessary stinginess. And Daniel got the tiles very slowly, very patiently. He didn't try to force that city. He just waited until he got the tiles, tried to cover it up at the top, and then Meami again was trying to break it at the bottom of this cow tile. It was just like a little bit too late.
And it turned out the worst possible case.
Yeah, well, but you know, it's usually instructive, because you know, like, sometimes if you're not sure about to move and you make a mistake, then sometimes you get away with that and you might even think that it's a good move. But maybe that's even worse. So sometimes what you need to punish by it really, really hard and think, you know what, like, I'm never doing that kind of stuff again. Just put the meeple and then that's it. So yeah, other than that, again, like, Meami did, you know, had some really strong tactics, really good tile counting. You see, this farmer at the bottom for a 50-50 was great. This farmer at the top and creating this attack was great. It's just that the game is not just about the farms. You really have to balance out all 4 features, including the road, and this 8-point road at the end belonged to Daniel at the bottom, which could have belonged to Meami. So all of these things really add up. Hi, Željka. So, we will be wrapping up shortly. Let's just update the score in a second. If y'all have any questions to my special guest, then do make those known in the chat in the next couple of minutes. I don't know. Anything else that we can learn from this game, Zvonimir? Any other thoughts you're willing to share?
I don't know. The interesting thing is that they both rushed to the fields in both games. So this was like a 5.5 city field, but it turned out to be what 7 field.
Yeah. Well, like the fact that it turned out to be big field kind of does not surprise me. And the geometry was really different from the previous game because like in the previous game it was just much more closed, and of course, yeah, Black now going for the more direct approach. And now in hindsight, of course, remember like we both liked the idea of just meepling the 3-point road at the bottom, but we can see from Black that a tempo on the field is really worth a lot, and it actually might be worth those exact same 3 points and maybe then some.
Yeah, and the monasteries weren't used that much. There were some situations for good monastery spot preparation, but both of the players didn't manage to create a cluster of monasteries.
Yeah, well, Meami got this one thing going. He did get one completed and one almost completed monastery. And Daniel drew a couple. I think he drew this one, but he didn't have a meeple, so he had to score 2 points. But that yielded good dividends because it resulted into a blocked city of Meami. And yeah, I believe Daniel just happened to draw more monasteries than his opponent, which was good for him. Even though he wasn't able to use them himself, this did not allow Meami to use his meeple majority and try to compensate for the scoreboard difference. High Leaf 9. So yeah, we will be wrapping up. Just before we do so, let's have a look again at the bracket. So we sadly will be saying goodbye to Meami, who of course is a spectacular player, and we're sure we'll see them back either in the Mind Sports Olympiad in January or in the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships in the spring. So that was Q1-4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So the standings are here. Oh, no. That's Q4. So they are, wait, 4, 3. Yeah, there are 9 different qualification groups. So that's why it's a bit easy to get confused. All right. No. Wait, do you remember which qualification group was that? I think I'm losing them.
I actually don't. We'll have to check them all.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
There's just a lot of them.
Yeah, okay, it's actually, it was just on our second attempt. So, and this is interesting. No, we're not gonna have a rematch, yeah, because Meami played against Lord Terrycloth. Daniel did not play against Lord Terrycloth. Zvonimir, are you familiar with the British player at all?
I did play against him. I do not remember how the outcome, but we played. The name is known.
Any guesses to who might be the favorite in the consolidated finals between the British player and Daniel Ayala?
Yeah, I'm going with Daniel again.
I'm
betting on Daniel.
I mean, he did put on a really strong performance today. So, and also showed like a variety of strategies, which I always like. Yeah, but also Lord Terrycloth actually has been quite consistent. So, we're gonna see. It should be also another exciting match, as most of them are towards the end of the qualification cycle. And of course, tomorrow there will be some more streams. So, oh, look at this. We're actually having 3 of those. Okay, we're having back-to-back stuff. Yeah, there we go. So now players are actually scheduling their games in a convenient way. So, in the morning, I'll do my best to actually wake up in time for this, because the Penguin EM versus Dev Dean is an interesting match. Visitor Q versus Me Got No Skill of Australia should also be not interesting, but of course nothing will be as interesting as this. The Catalan Master against the newer Taiwanese Master, who crossed the threshold of 800 ELO on Board Game Arena, and the evening match, Rodas of Moldova versus 71 Knives of Belgium. This is for tournament survival. Out of these 3 matches, Zvonimir, any thoughts as who the favorite in each one?
Penguin for sure.
Even for sure,
Strong
not like
player.
A slight favorite, but for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
Is Penguin female or male? I don't know.
Female.
Female, yeah. She showed a huge progress in the last few months, so I think the progress carries her to victories. About the other ones, I don't know. Me got no skill. I guess he or she has some skill, which
He
he's
has.
already in.
You know, he beat Nallerheim, so
Aha, aha.
yeah.
Well, and 71 knives could win. But I'm more looking forward to the Lakers versus Dark Passenger. That would be a
Ah.
very interesting match.
Yeah, so that would be the very interesting match, but sadly that's the one which I won't be able to stream for
Yes.
sure. Yeah, and Sanaki versus Portgard also might be problematic. So at least the next 3 or 4 matches we're going to watch, and then I'll stream what I can, but with no guarantees up until the end of the week, basically. Righty. Yes, Elias, the tournament does feel overwhelming because there's, especially when you lose this bracket, because it's a must-win situation like every single round. So just so much effort to overcome just to qualify. Pretty much like in the actual football Champion League.
Yeah, last year it was much easier to get into Carcassonne Championship League because you just got message on Board Game Arena and then you accepted the invitation, then you're in. So this year it's a whole process to do it.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, well, not all our viewers know that this is the international qualification cycle. Before of that, each nations have to hold their own qualification to select, like, 1 or 2, 3 players to participate here. So it's just a whole months and months and months long process. Alrighty. Yeah, should be enough. Anyway, thank you so much, Zvonimir, for joining our stream for the first time. Hopefully, definitely not the last.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you everyone for watching. And don't forget to maple the like button.
Oh, thank you so much for doing the reminder. Yes, that's important for the algorithm and for our good mood of the commentators. And of course, thank you all so much for watching, and I'ma see you soon.
See ya.
All right.